How do you mean? 9 times out of 10? Hey, yeah, no, I don't have any money right now. Hi there, welcome to Real Sales Dynamics, where we break down in-field sales footage in order to get you better at door knocking. The number one question we get asked is, how do I answer objections best? Now, the key with all of this is it depends. Now, the quickest way in order to be able to answer a question is by filling it in with an additional question that will actually lead to that person agreeing with you at the end of the day, which is what we're here for, right? We're not here to debate, we're here to get them on our side. Because we don't win by getting into an argument. We win by getting them to believe what we believe while making them think they were the ones who thought of it in the first place. How do we do that? Simple rule, AAA. Acknowledge, associate, ask. Acknowledge what they're saying. Hey, yeah, no, I don't have any money right now. Hey, I totally get it. I understand. That's exactly why I'm here. You associate with something else. You associate with people who actually buy your product. Yeah, it's funny, 90% of our clients bring up that they don't have any money right now. I mean, no one can afford to do anything out here, right? Then you fill it in with another question. But quick question for you. Are you guys aware of kind of how the financing works with these leases? You guys don't actually have to come out of pocket any money. Now, thankfully, this can be used in any single situation, including shit tests. What do I mean by shit tests? They're tests that people use to see if you're actually competent at your job. Yeah, how long you even been working there? 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, that might not be enough for them. Because any single thing that you fill that vacuum in with will not be enough for them. So instead, you reframe it and you transition to another thing. Rule number 1 with this, the person asking the questions is the one who's actually in control. If you're in a close and they're repeatedly the person asking all of the questions, they're gonna start jotting things down in their head so that they can be left alone by their own devices and then think about it and maybe sign up another time. But instead, if you're being proactive, where you know where the conversation is going because you've done this 1,000 times, then you can be the one asking questions, which makes that person feel empowered because there's nothing more that they want to talk about than themselves. Your prospect believes very little of what you're saying and believes nearly everything that's coming out of their mouth. Here's another situation like that. Yeah, solar doesn't make sense. Right, it doesn't even take care of you if you have a power outage outside. I saw that my neighbor's outside. Hey, dude, I totally get it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna associate that. About 90% of the people that have been signing up recently in your neighborhood all did the battery backup. Do you know how the battery backup works? No. Oh, it's really cool. So the way it works is they do Tesla Powerwall 3. You know Tesla, right? Yeah, I know Tesla. Yeah, you hate the cars though? Yeah, the car's terrible. Turns out they're really good at making batteries though. That's cool. So the way it works, when it works, is that the system continuously produces power backfed into the battery so that in case there is a long power outage, you guys don't run out of power. Then you're gonna follow that up again with a question. So you have a transition. What was the longest you guys have ever lost power for? Oh, like 6 days. Oh man, that really sucks. That's what I heard from some of the neighbors out here. Do you guys have like a little generator or something? This is all natural cadence of a conversation by starting it off with that AAA. You need to ask questions that lead them to say that they're a good fit through breadcrumbs. If I'm getting them to say, hey, yeah, no, I lost power for 6 days. Okay, well, my solution will solve your problem. So that person's gonna go, well, how do we get this? Quick public service announcement. If you're trying to make $100,000 just in the course of 10 days and you want to do it while working with the best people in the solar industry, you need to click down below at flblitz.com. In previous blitzes, we had Ben Grossman, Michael O'Donnell, and a league of other individuals who won the Golden Door Award, getting over 100 to 200 installs in just 1 year. If you want to learn how to do it, you got to work with the best people. Click down below, flblitz.com. Now, if you're repeatedly asking question after question after question without adding context or something juicy as far as an answer, you can use little analogies. I love using the mechanics analogy specifically when I'm on the doors. When I'm on the doors, I'm trying to get a lead. Let's say, I'm sure you're gonna run into this out every now and then. Yeah, well, how much is it gonna cost me? Yeah, I don't know that yet. Well, dude, ballpark, give me a number. You're gonna bring up what we call a moral frame. And this is the best way that I like using it at least. Imagine you had a car issue, right? It's making a bunch of weird sounds, you didn't know what was going on, and you just call the mechanic. And you tell him, hey, my car's making weird sounds. And the mechanic just says, yeah, it's gonna be $500. Would you trust that mechanic who didn't even look underneath your hood? Probably not, right? In fact, it's kind of unethical for you to go with that person because you can't really trust them, right? So on our end, we gotta look under the hood of your house. I need to take a look at your air conditioner, the attic trusses, your roof line, how old the roof is, and figure out any home efficiencies that we can do as far as your project goes to ensure that you have the best setup, right? I'm not trying to put as many panels so I can make as much commission as possible on top of your roof all at once. Does that make sense? Now you got out of the situation where you're just giving them a number. Instead, you're making a moral stance. You can't just give them a number. And then in fact, you'd be doing your job badly if you were, and that's gonna lead to actually being able to get to a close. You transition to either setting an appointment for someone else to close your deal, or for you to get their bill, then pop the hood up, go ahead and take a look at their AC and look at everything. And then once you can contextually get there, then you get to the point where you can actually close that person.
1 second and then we're getting back to the episode. If you are a fan of this channel and my content in general, I'm Real Garrett Frazier on Instagram. I've been with Real Sales Dynamics from day one. I was in some of the early episodes. Now I'm making all of the episodes. If you want to find out how to develop a personal brand like this, like the Wolf of Solar, like some of our other clients that I work with, Lee Haight, follow me on Instagram, Real Garrett Frazier. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get back into the episode.
Rule number 2 is be like smoke. Never disagree with your prospect. You don't win sales by winning an argument. Ask questions about their questions, and whenever you're overwhelmed or they say something particularly stupid, use this. How do you mean? Well, dude, there's things, it's not gonna work, the environment stuff, the inflation reduction, whatever, bullshit, do, X, Y, Z. Bunch of stupid things all in a row. And you just simply disarm them by just saying, how do you mean? 9 times out of 10, that person will look around, realize whatever they just said didn't make any sense whatsoever, and then just come out with whatever potential objection they're gonna have. And you've already disarmed them by being inquisitive about their statement, rather than being argumentative, right? Because the impulse is to go, you're dumb. You gotta fight that, because that's not gonna get you anywhere. You might feel good for a second, but you're gonna feel terrible afterwards because you didn't just make $10,000. Instead, we're transitioning, right? How do you mean? Rule number 3, tell them what their questions mean. You should never be caught off guard with a question a customer asks, right? Just state things like 90% of customers ask me that exact same question and share that same concern. Right, your neighbor Diane asked the exact same question about 3 minutes before we signed her up. That kind of gets you out of that terrible situation. Rule number 4, use straw men for harsh truths. You might not know what a straw man is because you probably didn't take logic in college, and that's totally okay. What I'm saying straw man is, we're gonna create this straw man made out of straw, that we can easily knock over so that we don't have to get into an actual argument. This is what that looks like. Let's say a customer says something like, oh, well, yeah, no, we just don't have time right now to do that. Instead of saying it's not a time issue, it's a priority issue, which makes you sound like an asshole, right? It's a terrible statement to make. Instead, you state, yeah, it's so funny. I was just talking to a customer, brought up a similar thing. Can I share with you what I shared with them? It's not a timing issue, it's a priority issue. Why is that less argumentative? Really simple. Because that's a conversation you had with the customer, right? Not a conversation you had with them. So instead of it feeling like I am arguing with them, it's just simply a conversation I had over here that'll make them think. Because again, it's making them think that they came up with the idea to sign up right now versus you insisting upon it. And you can use this in a variety of ways. You can also use it as a straw man of authority. Let's say you're 18 years old and you're trying to sign up as a customer. And it's a 25-year lease or PPA or loan or whatever the hell you're selling. There's gonna be a good shot that that customer's gonna look at you and think, well, you're younger than this contract. And so by bringing up a figure of authority in the conversation, you're going to save yourself the embarrassment of telling an old man how to live their life. I'll bring up as an example. Yeah, this is pretty long, 25 years. That's so funny you mentioned that. I was just talking to Hunter, he actually runs our company. Can I share with you what he shared with me? Sure. Okay, so the 25-year thing is actually the best thing about this because that's gonna lock in your rate for the next quarter of a century. If you could do that with your gas bill 15 years ago, you probably would have done that, right? Right, so now by bringing up someone else who's an authority figure, you're able to use their authority and transfer it onto you. Here's another example. Yeah, well, I'm worried about my roof. Hey, I totally get that. I was actually just talking to our chief engineer about kind of how the roofing works. Can I share with you what they shared with me? Sure. Yeah, so we attacked directly into the attic trusses and put a lifetime sealant on there. And the racking system that we use is actually set up for a Category 5 hurricane. If you guys are getting hit by Category 5, we don't really have to worry about the panels. You have to worry about getting your cat out of the house, right? So that ensures that the roof is gonna be completely covered for the next 25 years, and that's why they can do that warranty, right? Again, it's not you making that statement. It's you taking the authority of the roofer or engineer that you spoke to and transferring that over. That's gonna save you so many obstacles moving forward because it's not you who's the figure of authority, it's someone else, and you can use that. Rule number 5, keep a childlike quality. That's so interesting that you asked that question. Can I ask you a little more about that? Particularly when someone's being really nasty with you. And not to be completely anti-politically correct, the way I like to say it is get a little gay with it, okay? I'm a large Hispanic man, right? I'm a real 6'2", not a fake 6'2". You can measure me at the next conference that I see you at. One of the things I have to do when I am doing this job is acting a little silly in order to de-escalate situations. If someone's coming in really, really hostile and talking a lot of trash, I'll just say something like, are we gonna keep being little silly gooses over here, right? Instead of calling them an asshole, I call them a silly goose. And then I use my hand a little more flamboyantly, and I'll just kind of look at them in a slightly puzzled way. And when I do that, it gets them from going like this to kind of going like this. By you getting a little silly with it, they get a little silly with it, and then you guys have a nice little silly time. And because you're not treating it like it's a big deal, they're not gonna treat it like it's a big deal. That is so important. It's one of the best business advice that I got early on. If you act like none of this is a big deal, they won't act like it's a big deal. And this is gonna help you out throughout your entire career. If you keep running into the same objection every single time, it's because in the back of your head, you think it's a big deal. So it's transferring to other people. All these people didn't form a council. The 150 doors you knocked that day, not every single one of them had a Zoom meeting that morning and said, yeah, I'm gonna bring up the roof thing. But if every single one of them keeps doing that, it's because in the back of your head, there's something going on. You need to rid yourself of that, get a little silly with it, and just have some fun on the doors out there. So again, acknowledge, associate, ask, and you can handle any single objection. The point of this job is to help others and make money, not win an argument. By acknowledging that and having fun with it, you'll be able to win over customer after customer after customer. If you want to learn more about how to do what I'm doing right now and get 20 additional trainings, join us for free at one of our blitzes if we choose you at FL Blitz and CABlitz.com. We're on both sides of the coast and we're selling a lot. More importantly, click subscribe down below, but most importantly, click on one of these 2 little videos. YouTube thinks you're gonna like it a lot.